circumstance and mindset. Peace. Okay, so let's talk about baby daddy number 3, which is my daughter Lyrical's father. This one is a little bit shameful.
Oh, the caption says, point of view, I have 5 baby fathers and 7 children, part 2. So if you're new to this, basically in part 1, what we discovered about her, and apparently I had to do a part 2 because apparently this is going to have nothing on part 1. This is where the juicy stuff begins, apparently, and part 1 was already insane as it was. But ultimately, she has 7 children by 5 different fathers. And crazy enough, the first father she was married to, and they had 3 children. And so after she got out of that marriage, then she just started having a father per child. We really only in part 1 got to the first 2 fathers. So the first one where she got married, and then she had 3 kids. She got out into the streets, found her way into a poly relationship, had another child with that father, and now we're basically getting to the other 3. So that's a quick little recap, Star Wars style, just so you understand what we're looking at. But let's go ahead and get back into it.
Okay, so let's talk about baby daddy number 3, which is my daughter Lyrical's father. This one is a little bit shameful only because like I said, I had just moved back to Boston and I was living with my mom and going back to school. I was working full time. So I was doing all the things that I needed to do just to take care of myself and get things back on track. I did start dating a little bit here and there, and I was in a relationship with somebody who I really actually liked. We did not end up having any kids or anything like that, but after that breakup, I realized that I was taking that really, really bad and dealing with what I know now to be abandonment issues and father issues too. I completely ignored it. I think I did recognize it, but I didn't actually take the time to heal it and to sit with it. Instead, I started to date again, and I met a guy on a dating app. To be honest, at this moment, I don't know what I was looking for. I was looking for connection, intimacy, but I wasn't necessarily looking for a relationship, and I'm not too proud about that.
I know it. I know it. See, after that first marriage, she did everything right. Her first marriage, her first marriage where she had the 3 kids was in the context of like religion and ultimately like a community based in religion. But then after she got out of that, that's when she started doing all the things that I guess she was suppressing. And then she was able to just let all that chaos out. And so this is what we see. She said she got in another relationship. That dude wasn't even the father. Then she decided to get on the dating app. What do you think she put on the dating app? Basically, she already knows I got 4 kids. I already know that's a stretch. So basically, now I'm just trying to get my needs met. I'm stressed. These kids are stressing me out. See, this is where you get into where you got all this stress. You really would like possibly to have a relationship where somebody can kind of take some of that burden off of you, but it's going to be hard for somebody to sign up for that. And then they might even have some kids of their own. So then it would even be possibly adding on to you. So I really just outline all that to say, excuse me, it's very complicated. It's a lot of us make our lives more complicated. She had ended up in a poly relationship where she had her 4th child. I mean, we just making these things so complex. So now what it sounds like she's about to say is that she met her baby's father off a dating app and she set the foundation all wrong. Maybe not wrong. It just depends on what you're looking for. But basically, it was just like, shoot, I'm just looking for a good time. If it turns into something cool, which is fine, but why you couldn't just do it responsibly and not have any other kids? Because right now, like I said, where she stands, she's a single mother with 7 children. That's insane. That is literally diabolical. That's crazy. That should be designated for royalty when it gets to this extent. Y'all, before we get back into it, if you could like the video, I greatly appreciate it. Only takes a second, and it actually helps out more than you know. And It's just a click, but it does help out tremendously. And then also, if you can hype the video as well. And also, I just launched a clips channel. So it is Divine X Unbound Clips. I post on there 3 times a day, and I will link it in the pinned comment so you can just click and go subscribe over there. If you could subscribe, I greatly appreciate it. We're trying to get it to 4,000 watch hours before February 1st.
I don't know what I was looking for. I was looking for connection, intimacy, but I wasn't necessarily looking for a relationship, and I'm not too proud about that. So we connected and we really kicked it off to a great start. We had a lot of things in common. He was an Afrobeat artist and he just had amazing lyrics, an amazing voice. We both grew up at Seventh-day Adventist, and yeah, even though he was African, Liberian, we still had a lot of the similar upbringing. The intimacy would have lasted for probably 2 weeks between us, and it was very beautiful, and there was some potential there, but again, I just don't think we both was there. No excuse for myself. I believe that everyone should be protecting themselves. So, yes,
Man, most people ain't going to be there when you're coming out with 4 kids. Right now, you have 4 kids by 2 fathers. And it shows, because look at what you're looking at. Even when you reflect on this man, when you bring up his characteristics of like why you liked him, it was something trivial. Like it's just something cool to say, just trendy to say. He's an Afrobeats artist. What about his character? Nothing from that stood out. Well, that's the indication right there that you need of where it could possibly go. And so, sounds like she done had the third father is an Afrobeats artist. It's just all over the place. It's just all over the place. It's crazy. How do we even, like, when we got all these you got one who's struggling, you got one father, a struggling Afrobeats artist. You got another father, CEO. You got another father in jail. Like, are these kids all living within the same house, but living completely different existences as far as how they're provided for? And this is why it gets so complex. Do we think about how that could like affect the psychology of the kids? If one kid gets bought a PlayStation for his birthday and the other kid gets a toothbrush, then do you have to make that up? This is just crazy. What will usually be expected is for the father that buys a PlayStation to make it up. So now it's like, well, no, I've literally seen situations where women will say, if you're going to buy one of my kids a PlayStation, you got to buy them all a PlayStation, or it's got to be all day PlayStation, all this type of stuff. It's like, who should have to pay for your choices? Me or you? It just gets, why are we doing this? I'm gonna let it play for a while.
no excuse for myself. I believe that everyone should be protecting themselves. So, yes, it could have definitely been avoided. Now, this was very hard for me, but her whole entire conception was a testimony as well. When I found out that I was pregnant, this was my first time really planning my abortion, because I was like, ain't no way I'm going to have a 5th child and I don't even know this man. I did not share with anyone that I was pregnant. I didn't even tell him that I was pregnant. I just pretty much booked my appointment and I was ready to go. And pretty much the day before, y'all, I decided to tell a group of my close best friends at the time, and I was just like, y'all, guess what, y'all? I'm pregnant. It was just like, nah, you playing. And I was like, no, I really freaking am. My friends really convinced me not to abort this child. Some of my friends had experienced some before, and they just really regretted it. And honestly, it really spoke to my spirit, and I feel like the Most High was trying to tell me, like, you know what, everything is going to be provided for you. You don't have to worry about anything. So I decided that night that I wasn't going to go to my appointment, which was the very next morning. This was a Thursday night. I remember this like it was yesterday. The very next morning, I would have been at my appointment to abort this child, and I woke up to $14,000 in my account. I had some money that I was waiting on, but I didn't expect any amount specifically. I just knew that something was going to come, but I was not expecting that amount. I felt like it was confirmation for me that, hey, you know what, you're going to be provided for. And I honestly had an amazing year or two leading up to that birth and after. So this took a little while to explain. So part 3, I'm going to talk about my last 2 baby fathers and wrap this series up. Stick around, you guys. I love y'all. I appreciate you guys, and I'm healing, and every day is going to look different for me, but I feel like it's time for me to share my story. And sometimes we deal with shame, and that's okay, because it's part of refining your character as an individual, and I don't want to be stuck.
You didn't refine your character, Mel. You went through things and then you didn't learn the lesson. How did you refine your character? We still got 2 more kids to go, and you're already at 5 by 3 different men. We're already at 5 by 3 different men. And she talking about $14,000 was in my account. 14. You're a family of 6 right now, and you're the only provider. $14,000 can go just like that. You got 5 kids, and you. Listen, this is so complex. Like, she's talking about she's gonna wrap it up in part 3. No, there's still 2 more parts. This is how complex our lives are. We be projecting. We be like, yeah, I'm projected to get it wrapped up in the next part. And then when we really get into it and delve into it, we be like, oh no, I need to make another part. We have to make 4 parts. Stay here for like almost 20 minutes just to somewhat understand how you ended up in this predicament. This is crazy.
Okay, this is part 3 of how I became a baby mama of 7 kids with 5 baby fathers, you guys. Let's just wrap it up because I'm getting tired. Okay.
She getting tired just explaining it.
So cool. You guys already have obviously caught up to all of the videos that I made expressing, you know, my life as a baby mom, some of the do's and don'ts. And I hope that you ladies been taking some notes, please. Okay, so let's move on to baby daddy number 4. This was an old head that I met in Atlanta, Georgia, y'all. Lord have mercy. Ugh.
Do you see how this is just naturally the progression? She was married. Look at how all over the place this is. She was married by some like super cult religious dude the first time. They had 3 kids in the context of a family. Then, what did she say with the second dude? I can't even remember. Oh yeah, second dude, she ended up in a poly relationship. Then the third dude, she met him off a dating app, and he's a Afro beats artist who's broke, basically. And then now the new dude is an old head. Some old player looking dude that probably he don't mind tricking off. He probably looks for women with exorbitant situations where he knows that they hurting for funds. And that's probably his whole game plan. Oh, she's just food for the game. Oh, she is these streets is running her. She's not running these streets. These streets is just leading her every which way, and she has no direction. She has no sense of direction. A old head. This dude probably had a fedora on with a feather on it when he came up and approached her.
Do not recommend. This old man bagged me, y'all. He was like 23 years my senior, and I was not looking for a relationship. I feel like, what the? This man was smooth, okay? He see me pumping gas at the gas station, and he offered to pump it. He offered to pay for it. And, you know, obviously, the South, living in the South, that's just typical Southern thing that grown men usually do. So we exchanged numbers and we texted for a little while, and he was actually very cool and he was very knowledgeable. Like, that is something that I could talk about knowledge, history for a very long time, because that's one of my main interests is learning about history, learning about science, and he definitely knew a lot. I mean, he was old, so clearly you know a lot. Yeah, that old nigga took me through there. Child,
I think we giving him too much slack, ma'am. She's like, he was smooth. He was this. Yeah, you're going to have to like give some people the slack because you got to detract away from the fact that I don't think these people is that smooth as you say. I think it could just be possible that you're easy. That's what it could be possible that you're just easy. And then having these kids don't make it any better. You don't care about yourself, or you didn't at the time. And I just bring these things up. I really try not to focus on the person. I'm talking about the behavior, but I have to highlight certain things because it's gonna resonate for who it's gonna resonate for. She doesn't care about herself, so it's easy for her to just get pulled any which way because she doesn't value herself. She doesn't. I mean, at this point, we can't even talk about valuing your body. She doesn't value her life. Who makes their life this crazy and chaotic that values their life? You know the most because we can talk about dudes for a second. Whenever I see a dude that's just reckless out here, I will argue those dudes don't care. Well, maybe the first dude cared about his life, but after that, I would argue these dudes don't care about their life. The fact that you would want to get somebody pregnant, that you would take that type of risk, who's already in this situation. Because another thing we don't address, she's not staying with any of these guys. She's not staying. She doesn't value herself, and so it spills out into her life and into her outcomes. And so she never stops to take a minute to evaluate and reflect. And so she just keeps moving, just adding more trauma, more damage to her own life. She doesn't care about her life because she won't take the time and the space to actually understand what she actually wants and sees for her life. She just moves on to the next to try to forget about the past. She moves forward to try to forget about the past instead of moving forward intentionally from a place of structure and a place of actually creating a plan for her future.
So clearly, you know a lot. Yeah, that old nigga took me through there. Child, the last two took me through there. So we started dating, and it was short lived. That relationship literally only lasted 3 months until he put hands on me. He put hands on me literally 2 times. The first time he put hands on me, I was like a little nervous, a little scared because it was just for the smallest thing. And I don't really know why I allowed it to happen, but I feel like I was in survival mode and I really wanted to be taken care of. And I know that sounds really fucking crappy to say, but that was my reality at the time. That was the headspace and the mindset that I was in. And yeah, it just wasn't healthy, you guys, at all. So when I found out I was pregnant, he was extremely happy. Like, oh my gosh, he was so happy. Until he put hands on me again. And I was like, oh no, this man is a little too violent. So PTSD started to kick in because, you know, like I said, I had already experienced domestic in my first marriage. So it was just something that I really don't tolerate. So me even letting it slide the first time was just like enough. So the second time, I really did not care. I picked up my stuff and I was getting ready to get up out of there. He begged me to stay, but it was already too late because I'm an Aries. So when I have my mind made up, I just be ready to just do it. And unfortunately, sometimes.
So why you couldn't make up your mind that you was gonna stop having kids and stop ending up in these situations, man? Why you couldn't be decisive about that? Committed to that. It's like each dude is like a totally different character. Like I feel like the last dude is finna be a midget. Like this is all over the place.
That's not the best thing because it tends to be in a hasty way. Similar to the previous child, I also was contemplating an abortion in the state of Georgia. You have up to 6 weeks, and I literally was getting ready to fly all the way to Minnesota to do this. And once again, I just could not bring myself to do it. Like, I am a fool. Either way it goes, like, I do not regret my baby girls. Like, the last two, like, even though their fathers are not active in their life, because
Oh
I
wow.
don't think I told you guys, but let me.
Yeah, I didn't even factor that in. Like, yeah, there's 5 guys. Not everybody's gonna be active either. I know they're gonna all have different careers or lack thereof, incomes ultimately. I didn't even think about the fact it's yeah, it's gonna be some dudes in there that ain't even taking care of their kids.
Let me go back real quick to my previous baby father with Lyrical. So when I decided to keep Lyrical, which was my fifth baby, I told her dad, and her dad did not want me to keep her at all. He was like very voiceful about his opinion, but he didn't want to tell me like, hey, like go get an abortion because that wasn't his right to say, and he just didn't necessarily believe in it as well. But he kind of already told me that he wasn't going to be in the picture. And honestly, at the time, I just sucked it up because, like I said, I had already decided not to move forward with the procedure. I had already felt like the Most High was telling me like, "Hey, here's some money. Just prepare. You're gonna be fine. Everything's gonna work out." I had already made up in my mind that I'm gonna raise this child. Like, she's gonna be loved. She's gonna have her siblings. Like, everything is gonna be good. So, like, women, we don't take no accountability, and we tend to blame the man. But I think that as a human, having a human experience, it's okay for somebody to say like, damn, I don't want a child right now. So anyway, fast forward to Ari, the same situation. I decided to keep her, and
Well, here's the thing. I mean, women have the choice, right? Once y'all have a lot of choices before and after. Men don't have a choice necessarily after. They've got one form of contraception, pretty much. And I mean, we could just be real. It pretty much destroys the quality of the experience, for lack of better terms. Pretty much destroys the quality of the experience. So it's a lot of guys that don't have the discipline to be able to make sure that they armor up. But for y'all got like 20 forms of contraception before. They will not create a pill that dudes can take where it's 99% effective. Every dude will be on it, and there wouldn't we wouldn't have a military if they created that. Let's just say that. Okay. So I think they intentionally don't create contraceptives that are frictionless and easy for men. I definitely do. But you got all these forms, and then you got the option after the fact. Now, I'm not saying that he shouldn't take responsibility for what he decided to do, but you see, it's like she's finally reflected at this point through all this experience. She's wise enough to say, like, yeah, I know a lot of us don't take accountability for our own stuff. And she's even being empathetic towards the man. Like I said, it's his responsibility. It happened. He gotta do what he gotta do. But she done got so much experience and trauma that it actually has made her pretty wise at this point now, to where she can understand certain things. But you don't gotta get wisdom this way. Some people just gotta touch that hot stove. They just gotta learn all the lessons the hard way. And I'm not an advocate for that. As well as, I mean, it's kind of common sense. We gotta stop making things out to be so difficult. You mean to tell me you had 5 kids already? You're having a sixth and a seventh? You take too long to learn lessons. I can imagine we can extrapolate this in other areas of your life, but you take too long to learn.
like I just couldn't bring myself to that point. Like, so yeah, both of them were born in Georgia at home, and it was beautiful. I was supported, I was loved. But I'm gonna do part 4 for my last and final baby father of them all.
All right, let's go. Let's find out about Darth Vader here, the final boss.
Welcome back to my series, how I became a baby mom of 7 with 5 baby dads, and we're wrapping it up with the last and final one, y'all, because I'm just over it. Okay, you guys. So let's talk about baby daddy number 5, which is the last and final baby father.
And by the way, shout out to her. You know, keep in mind, some of this stuff is tongue in cheek a little bit. He's so judgmental. Yeah, some of this is tongue in cheek. You know, we're just having fun here. People forget this is a reaction channel. This is a reaction channel. I'm reacting. So, but I want to shout her out for sharing her story. I think her story can help people, especially as we talk about it, we disseminate it. I give my opinions, my thoughts. Y'all give y'all opinions, y'all thoughts. I definitely want to see what y'all think about this. But shout out to her for sharing her story, because it's an important one to learn, because sadly this is becoming more common where people are having astronomical numbers of kids and being single with multiple men and not staying with any of them.
Of 7 with 5 baby dads, and we're wrapping it up with the last and final one, y'all, because I'm just over it. Okay, you guys. So let's talk about baby daddy number 5, which is the last and final baby father. And this story is a little bit crazy and super sensitive to me. After everything I experienced being in the Hebrew Israelite cults and practices, I decided to circle back to that way of life in 2023 like a fool. And the reason why I say like a fool is not necessarily because I'm against the Torah, because I love studying the Torah in essence, but it's just the mindset of a lot of these people, especially the men. It's not it. Once again,
Ma'am, all due respect, you can't talk about mindsets. You have the goofiest mindset I've probably seen this month, conservatively. Keep telling your story. Don't talk about mindsets, ma'am.
but it's just the mindset of a lot of these people, especially the men. It's not it. Once again, I was not looking for a relationship. I just gave birth to my 6th child. I decided to kind of move to a location that had, a group of Israelites or whatever the case may be. And that's where I met my baby father, who came off as helpful and nice at first. Ultimately, I feel like people prey on you. Like, they don't really necessarily take the time to really understand your mind or even know what they want out of you. But I just feel like sometimes some of these men, especially in these Hebrew spaces, they just want to have first dibs. Like, they just want to claim that they got you first because you're the new person. But that's just my thought process. This story it's like so hard to say because it sounds so stupid. Like, even me trying to talk about it in my head, because all of the red flags was there on why I should not have been dealing with this person to begin with. I ain't gonna go too hard on that
Such
relationship
as?
since my son is only 1 year old, and he is a very active and helpful father, and I would not discredit him on that. But yes, our relationship did not work.
Yeah, don't mess it up, ma'am. Don't mess it up. You got this one. This is one of the ones that stayed. We need him. Okay? We need him around. Don't come on here bashing them. And now, I appreciate you for telling your story, but don't do it at your expense, ma'am. The children need all hands on deck. All hands on deck. You probably should have kept this story to yourself. Any other fathers that's still around, don't burn those bridges.
Did not work at all. So I don't even want to talk about it. What I learned is that I started in my youth as a Hebrew Israelite, having my first children, and I come full circle 7 kids later as a Hebrew Israelite, ending off with my 7th child. And I thought that was very interesting, because when you are in some of these culture spaces, it takes a toll on your programming on a cellular level. Like, the shit gets embedded in your DNA when it comes to how you identify your self-worth and your value as a woman. And I'm not gonna take I'm not going to put no blame on anybody or any system, because at the end of the day, I am ultimately the person who is in control of my reality first. I know that for sure. But at the same time, I could see how not knowing your worth and your value, and basing your worth and your value based on a religious cult that says that women are beneath them, are to be subjected, or don't have a say, are to be abused. Like, and when you get abused and when you get mistreated, some of them are telling these sisters that they cannot marry, they cannot divorce, and they cannot remarry. Like, what type of programming is that? So I had to do a lot of healing. I started therapy. I got diagnosed with PTSD last year, which kind of really made a lot of sense to me, because I didn't realize how being hypersexual, really created a lack of boundaries in my life. So that's something that I really had to understand, because the way that I search for love, or the way I seek companionship, comes through the validation of giving my body. And that's all that I've known. And I wish I did have other circumstances. Like, I wish I was raised with a father in my life who could actually lead me down a more healthy path on how to respect myself as a young lady. And unfortunately, I was not. And unfortunately, I am learning now at my big grown age. And it's not fun. It's just really.
Yes, we need fathers. We need fathers. That's what I always advocate for. That has been the crumbling of society, especially the black community, the lack of fathers. But honestly, ma'am, you're kind of contributing to that too. For your kids, you kind of continued the cycle because you was married and you continued to have more with no fathers. I get that you're unpacking your reason behind it, but ma'am, you know better. Come on now. You know better than that. Listen, I don't care what your therapist try to rationalize this. Yeah, because some people be looking for a victim reason or a label to be able to excuse their terrible choices, decisions, and behaviors. Ma'am, come on now. You need a therapist to unpack why you didn't decide to have 7 kids by 5 fathers. Ma'am, you felt this. This stuff doesn't just happen instantly. There's no excuse. There is no excuse. You knew better. And if you don't know better, then go ahead and give us your adult card. Hand it over. Hand it over. And we will assign you somebody, because it sounds like you don't like that. It sounds like you don't want the structure. You don't want somebody being in charge of you or whatever. That's really what it sounds like. I mean, I get you're framing it in a way, but at the end of the day, ma'am, this is just your perspective. It's three sides to every story. So that means there's another person who has a whole nother subjective opinion. And then there's the objective truth. And I don't know if I necessarily give a lot of credit and a lot of, credit to your mindset and to the way that you think. I don't. I don't. You seem honest, though. She does seem honest and reflective. But I'm just saying, there's still going to be some biases in there. And you're getting permission in some instances to not take accountability. And it's just your PTSD and it's this and it's that. You know better.
Not fun. What I had to learn within myself was how to recognize when I'm having an episode with my PTSD, because I get triggered, and that's kind of what happened when I originally posted that video of me crying and stuff like that. I get triggered as a mom all the time, but I love motherhood. I've always wanted to have 10 kids. So it's not so much that I don't want to have kids. It's more so that I wish that my resources was different. I wish that I went about it differently. However, and there's always a but, I am super thankful for the 3 active fathers that I have in my life. You know, I have 2 boys I live with their dad, my first husband, and my daughter, the one that my oldest daughter, she lives with her dad as well, and been living with her dad for the last year. I'm so thankful for them. You know, my last baby father as well. He's a pain in my ass, but we are all healing.
Man, that's beyond active, man. Don't frame active as like they're just come and see their kids, ma'am. They have their kids, which it sounds like that was honestly, most women ain't gonna do that strategically. That honestly sounds like the best strategy. I'm gonna give her kudos for that because yeah, the first question I had is what car do you drive that can fit 8 people? So it sounds like she was able to get rid of 3 of them. So 3 of them are with their fathers, and then she's got the other 4, which should be a lot more manageable. That was actually a good thing, but now we're gonna get very inconsistent results. Because the first guy that you gave his 2 kids, there's still one of the kids that's still with you. We're gonna get very inconsistent sample sizes or samples and results and outcomes here now. Because it's all over the place and it's not consistent. So it's kind of like I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be real. Whoever that man is, who he had 3 kids with you, the first baby father, and 2 of the kids came back and lived with him, but one of them still with you. That one kid that's still with you, you kind of got the ish end of the stick. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I don't even have to know all the information. Man, man.
As individuals, and you know, like, these men are in my life for a reason. I will hold space for the other 2 if they want to come in. I've never been a type of person that's like, oh, I'm gonna just keep the people away, the dads away from their kids. I don't even be filing child support. Like, I literally just started filing child support this year because I just have put so much pressure on myself and try to do everything. So I'm using my resources. I'm back in college and I'm working on myself. And I think that it's a beautiful thing that I had all my kids so young, even though it's been very challenging.
How are you back in college with 7 kids? Let's just go ahead and call spade a spade. See, I really wasn't gonna inject this into the situation, but we already know she's on government assistance, allegedly. Probably. She's on. Come on now. You know. You know. So looks like she might have daddy government taking care of her. And so she feel comfortable enough to go back to school. I wouldn't even be surprised if that allows you to like fill in the job requirements of government assistance because you got to work 20 hours a week. She might not have to if she got a 1 year old. I think if you got a child under 7, you don't have to even do the requirements anyway. How are you in school? In school for what? How do you have time to come and do 4-part story times as well? That's what I want to know. With 7 kids, you in school, you on TikTok, man. You got 7 kids, you got to be at work. There's no way around that.
But in the next 10 years, like, my kids will be in their 20s and I'll be in my 40s. And I'll probably still look like I'm in my 30s because, you know, period.
Oh no.
And I just hope
Oh
that the
no.
Most High just continue to allow me to renew myself and renew my character, because that's really what it's all about. Like, if this did not kill me, then it's going to build me up to be a better person. So let this be a lesson to you. Heal, do the inner work. And right now, I think I'm beyond the healing. I just think that I'm at the point where I'm just integrating everything, and I'm finding the balance of who I am while still showing up as a mother. So instead of me complaining, which y'all will see here and there, because I'm a woman and I still be having my episodes, you feel me? But instead of me complaining, I just learned to create my reality based around my kids, and it has been working for us. So that is my story, you guys.
So let me be the first one to say this so we can wrap this up because this went much longer than I expected. But in order to get through all this, It had to, I guess. Let me just say this to wrap this up. She said her ending message was heal, do the inner work. Let me make sure we got something very clear. It don't take no healing and no inner work to not have 7 kids by 5 fathers. The ending message is just use your brain, use common sense, use critical thinking. Think a little bit further. What is this really going to look like? Am I ready for this? No, you're not. Not 7 kids by 5 fathers and be single. Y'all just use common sense. Use common sense. She went to get to a therapist to get all these victim excuses and all this type of stuff. She needed a common sense counselor, is what she needed. Somebody that's not going to sit there and smile with her and give her the excuse and make her feel like it's out of her control. No, this is directly in your control, ma'am. She needs somebody to say, what are you doing? What are you doing? But some people can't handle it, but they can handle this, right? People act like they can't handle you telling them the truth and you giving them affirmative correction. But they apparently you're strong enough to handle 7 kids by yourself. Now, we need to start giving affirmative correction. AC. And I'm not talking about HVAC. AC, affirmative correction. That's what a lot of people need, but they try to act like they can't handle it. And people don't want to hear the truth and they want to come at the messenger instead of coming at the person actually doing these things. Because, ma'am, this ain't even just about you, ma'am. I kind of feel like you're neglecting these kids, the kids that you do have, every time you have another one that you know you can't take care of. That's negligence. And that's traumatic. Just like you mentioned, you had trauma that affected you that had you making all these decisions. So people act like, oh, don't say that. That's too harsh. No, we need affirmative correction so that we can keep people away from the harsh consequences that they ultimately are not prepared to handle on their own. And then the consequences even get passed off to everybody else because clearly you look at the situation, you say a single woman cannot handle 7 kids and she don't even got no education, nothing. So then we all even have to hold some of the responsibility as well and try to figure out how to take care of this person, at least until the kids are grown enough to take care of themselves, which they're still not really able to take care of themselves because we've been taking care of you. And it ain't even really like you've been taking your job serious as just having to be the parent. Y'all literally get to live off the government and become single stay-at-home moms. And then it still be like you don't take the urgency to be like, well, let me actually get some stuff that I can actually impart in my kids and at least be a good example so that they don't follow in my footsteps. So again, I appreciate her sharing her story, but it don't take all this. When I say this, it doesn't take you having to get all these diagnoses and all this type of stuff. It just takes you to just use some common sense and just do the right thing. Y'all, we'll leave it there for the day. You can like the video. I greatly appreciate it. It only takes a second and it actually helps out more than you know. And also if you can hype the video. Hype is a new feature that YouTube offers where it helps smaller content creators like myself. And basically when you hype, it actually pushes us to the extent that it pushes the larger content creators. So you just press the hype button and it shows the points. And since I am a smaller creator, a smaller channel, we actually get more points per hype. And that's because hype was designed for smaller channels. So that's why. But if you come across a video and you don't see the hype button, then it's probably been over 7 days. And hype usually vanishes after 7 days. So it's usually best practice if you want to hype to just go ahead and hype while the iron is hot on a newer video. And then also if you want to become a member of the channel as well, the join button's on the video. And what becoming a member of the DXU family will come with is you would get badges next to your comments where it will show people that you are a member whenever you leave a comment, as well as you would get early access to content and also exclusive content that's not available for everyone else on YouTube. So again, if you want to become a member, the join button's on the video. And then, also again, I launched the Clips channel, Divine X Unbound Clips. It will be linked in the pinned comment. If you can click that link and go over there and subscribe, I greatly appreciate it. We're trying to get it to 4,000 watch hours before February 1st, because that is when the new YouTube rules will go into effect when it comes to monetization. So again, I appreciate everyone for watching, and I will see you in the next video.